This is a Remington 700 CDL left hand. It's chambered in the .223 Remington caliber. Those tend to be a little hard to come by in the left hand version. This is probably my favorite production version of the 700. In my book, I describe my ideal 700 in a short chapter near the end. It's called the 700 Hunter, and the features on this rifle, Remington embodied a number of changes that make this rifle very close to that rifle that I described. So really am pleased that Remington saw fit to bring out not my gun, their gun, but in the gun that I described. It has a mountain rifle type stock, which is a lightweight stock. It has a production weight barrel, a heavier barrel, and a longer barrel. So that was one of the features. It's got a matte finish. This is not a bright, shiny rifle. The stock's not a bright, shiny finish. So you can hunt in the field with this gun without it looking like a flashlight out there to the game. So definitely one of my favorite rifles, and the .223 Remington's probably my favorite varmint caliber. So not hard to tell from listening to me that I do a lot of hunting with this rifle. It's probably my #1 varmint rifle. I haven't owned this rifle nearly as long as some of my guns with like the .222 mag that we looked at, but I carried this on a prairie dog hunt up in Kansas a couple of years ago, and was very satisfied with the performance. Hunted with some of the fellows that I've known many years that had never hunted with me before, but were 700 collectors, so it was sort of my first chance to show my skills in the field with these particular hunters, and I'm glad to say I passed the test. I recommended the mountain rifle stock because it's such a comfortable stock. It's got a smaller pistol grip, and it's a good looking stock, the checkering, the finish. I like the matte finish on the stock and the matte finish on the barrel and the receiver. And I asked for the longer barrels and a heavier weight barrel, and virtually all the features that I mentioned in that gun. In fact, to make the picture, I took a picture of a mountain rifle and drew it in with the heavier barrel. And so they pretty much followed the script, and maybe somebody read the book 6 years before and got to thinking about the features and didn't even realize, where you'd read them. But the net result was they made the gun that I described, and I'm not trying to take credit for it. But it turned out to be so popular, they brought the CDL out in the Model 7 Remington also. So it's been a success. I've not heard them talk about it, but basically they virtually quit making the BDL, and this has replaced the BDL. So their bread and butter gun, the BDL, has pretty much been displaced by the CDL. So personally, I feel a little bit of pride in that, but it was their money that got spent, not mine, in building the gun. So I've got the model gun that I want, and they're making money in the process, so it's a good deal. In my book, I describe this rifle as the 700 Hunter, and Remington calls it the 700 CDL, which stands for Classic Deluxe. And at any rate, it's a hunter's rifle. It was intended not just to look pretty, which it does, but to perform well in the game field. And it's a gun that I use a lot.